Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Formula Online Racing for round 9 of the championship, the F1 championship, here at the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. It's just looking like it's going to be just me tonight. Luke Etheridge. George is having a few technical issues. He might still be able to join us. Fingers crossed for what I'm sure will be an absolutely fascinating race. If you weren't with us last time out, 2 wins out of 2 for the Williams of Westy, but he was pushed all the way by Josh M97, with Paulie Orange becoming the first man this season to get 3 podiums, as Westy is actually retired from the session. Just speaking that, we are halfway through the first qualifying session. 104.6, that's a pretty good lap time, so hopefully he will be safe and that won't cost him too much. There are a few qualifying bans for a couple of drivers. Both of the Red Bulls would have had one, Borussia and Otto's, but it is McGee who is in the other Red Bull tonight. But as I said, Westy took the victory last time out. 2 wins in a row now for the Williams driver. Both times he has actually finished second in the race, but he's managing to keep it clean, and that is the most important thing quite often we see on F1 2019. So what that does for the championship standings, Paulie Orange is in the lead now of the championship. As I said, only man to have 3 podiums, but Droftas is only 3 points behind him, and Borussia also just 9 points up off the top of the championship. Could be very exciting indeed. We do have a new driver tonight that you might have noticed. We've got Skivan down there in the Renault at the moment, so he's making his debut, so hopefully he'll be able to do well. Josh retiring from the session as well. I think these drivers are feeling pretty confident about their lap times early on. Hopefully we'll get to see some great action as we did last time out, as we so often do here at FOR. Altiero, he's just heading into the pit, seems to be going for a bit of a different strategy. Got YBR as well in the Williams. Let's see what he can do. Just coming around this middle sector of this circuit. First used in F1 back in 1970 when it was the Österreich-Ring. Used in Formula 1 until 1987. Came back 10 years later as the A1 Ring. Left the calendar again in 2003 before returning in 2014 as the Red Bull Ring, and has been a presence on the calendar ever since. So let's see what YBR's first lap time is. Good enough for 8th position at the moment. Remember, lap times in this, it's all about getting into that second 15-minute qualifying session. That is the most important thing. Doesn't matter whether you're first or 15th, as long as you get through, times aren't carried forward to the next session, of course. See a few other drivers out. Hibilu, he's just starting his lap. So take you around this circuit, heading there through turn 1, taking as much curb as you dare. DRS would be open, but he's actually backing off. In fact, there are 3 DRS zones at this circuit. We'll watch Yossi Heinz to take us around turn 3. Turn 2 is just that tiny little kink that you see there. It's not really a proper corner, as it's not going to challenge for drivers, but it is counted as a corner on the F1 game. Heading now down towards turn 4, then you're flat out through turn 5. This middle sector much twistier than the rest of the parts, all about downforce rather than braking performance. You can just see Jos Heinze getting slightly sideways there. Things not going to plan for the Racing Point driver, who's been good in Monaco qualifying so far this season, where he got pole position, had a good result there, but he's shown some good pace, but just can't get everything together. Can he do it this time? He's bottom of all the drivers who've set a time, and that is not how you do that corner. It's very easy to run wide, and the curve's extremely dangerous over here. So he is staying in 17th place, and he has only got 5 minutes remaining to improve on that lap time. So let's see how he carries on doing now. Got still a few drivers in the pits that have yet to set a time. Lawrence yet to set a time. Skivan as well. The Renault debutant, he's now heading around. This is his 3rd lap on those soft tyres. Everyone, of course, going for the softs to try and get around here. You need that mechanical grip, especially when you are exiting the corners around this circuit. So Borussia, unsurprisingly, saying he's going to be hoping to be starting in P11. You do get fresh tyres for the race, of course, if you start in 11th. And with that qualifying ban, that's the best he'll be able to hope for. So I'd expect him to go on mediums for the second qualifying session. He's in second at the moment, just 3.5 tenths off of Josh, which around this track is a pretty big margin. Such a big margin that it has been filled by Skivan. He's making it a Renault 1-2 at the moment at the top of the timing charts with a 1 minute 4.542 for him. Got Droftas down in 12th position. He's just come across the line. I think he'll be heading to the pits. He has got enough time, being the shortest lap time on the calendar. As you can see, around 64-65 seconds. Expect that to go down even more as we go into the final qualifying session. So traffic, especially in this first qualifying session, is crucial, trying to avoid that. Nuts Asylum in 12th, getting a bit of a slipstream off the Mercedes there. Nuts having a great race last time out, one of his best races so far this season, so he'll be hoping to do well. Currently 14th in the championship with 10 points. Let's just follow him round at this lap. Remember, all you need to do is get through, and the Ferraris will be hoping for a good performance, especially Lawrence, who yet again just got unlucky with wrong place, wrong time, getting involved in an accident, and that cost him maybe even a podium last time out. So Nuts Asylum, is he going to improve on 12th place at the moment? Won't be feeling safe with how close it is towards the bottom of the order. He can't improve this time around. So Double O, he's heading towards the pit lane. I think he's fairly happy with how he's done. Jossi Heinzer ended up improving to 7th place. Alan, he's going faster. What can the McLaren driver do? He's had 2 podiums so far this season, and that puts him 4th in the championship. He's within a race victory as well of the top of the standings, just showing how close it is this season in FOR. No one yet really grabbing this championship by the horns. You've got a couple of drivers on 2 wins. Josh showed good pace, getting pole position last time out, and it looks as though he's going to be topping the timing sheets again, at least in this first qualifying session. So Alan, 10th place at the moment. Bit of a gap to those ahead of him. He was slightly up coming through the first sector, and he's just pipped Jonathan Cox at the moment, so that is 9th place for the McLaren. What can McGee Red Bull do? He's just warming up, I feel, for his final lap. Serious Mushroom in the second half hasn't really been on the pace of his teammate, so he's hoping to find some consistency. 20 points at the moment, 11th in the championship, bit wide through that final corner, just getting on the curb cost him slightly. Not too much though. Nearly 4 attempts up on his previous best. He is in 12th. Can he go any further up? A few yellow flags. That will just be for cars moving out of the way of others. You can see him there getting well out of the way of Hibilu, I believe, who is only on an out lap. Double O retiring from the session. Not surprised. I think you can say those top few drivers, definitely Josh and Double O, save Skivan, Birosha, Westy, Paulie Orange you'd expect to be as well. But if there's some big improvements on these final laps from some of these guys, we know they've got pace. The likes of Droftas, Andenge, Lawrence as well, who he is now out on his lap, and he's just taking it nice and slow. I think again warming up for one shot qualifying basically for the Ferrari driver if he wants to avoid starting last. And Droftas, he needs to do something as well. He's on his out lap at the moment. Down in 16th, quite often qualifies outside the top 10 and makes his way up in the race, but starting in 16th won't be ideal for him. So let's see what he can do as we follow him around. He's just on his out lap at the moment. Other drivers on their hot lap. You've got Jonathan Cox. He's making a slight improvement. 2 tenths up so far, so that will put him up around where his teammate is in the other racing point. So should be safe as long as he keeps it nice and clean through these final couple of corners. Doing well so far. That looked all well and good through 9 and 10. Heads now across the line. It's a big improvement in that final sector. 4th position for Jonathan Cox. We know he's got pace. YBR, he's starting his lap. Now you've got one of the Alphas coming across the line. Droftas, he'll be starting his qualifying lap. We'll just see what Lawrence is doing. The only man yet to set a lap time. Looked good through the first sector. Just following him around now. Flat out through turn 5. Jonathan Cox is looking good, but he's got himself a penalty for a collision with YBR. Didn't see what happened, and unfortunately he won't be able to appeal that as it does affect his grid position. Checkered flag is out. The Alfa Romeos and the Ferraris not looking comfortable at the moment down at the bottom of the timing sheet. So let's see what Lawrence can do now. He's heading towards the final corner, round turn 10. Not being too greedy, doesn't want to invalidate a lap time, and that is good enough for 13th. I wouldn't say it's exactly safe with that. Nuts Asylum can't improve. Droftas is improving. He's 3/10 up, so this should put the Mercedes comfortably safe and maybe put Lawrence back into trouble. There are a few more drivers out on a lap. You've got Artiero and Enge McGee. They could all improve, so we'll check how they're doing after we see Droftas second in the championship, heading now across the line for the Mercedes. It's only 17th. Second place man in the championship, Droftas, is out in first qualifying. That is a big turn up for the Bucks here. And Enge, he's just heading back to the pits, as is McGee. So that is qualifying over. And the big story of that, this man Droftas out of Q1. I don't think any of us expected that at the start of this qualifying session. Once again though, Josh showing supreme pace at the top of the timing sheets for now. Double O, the Mercedes teammate of Droftas. Reminder, Droftas has scored all of Mercedes' points in the Constructors' Championship at the moment. Double O has shown good pace, but this last time out in France, a mistake on the strategy cost him any chance of scoring points. We know he's got the pace. He's shown that again today in second place, but his teammate just seeming to struggle in 17th, and that is a big gap from first to second for this circuit standards anyway, being such a short track. 0.2 of a second. The entire field was split by just over 1 second. So we'll just wait now for the classification to come up from that first qualifying session. And from that, as we see, Josh, Double O, Skivan, Jonathan Cox for top 4. Jonathan Cox and YBR both with 5 place penalties, so that'll move them down the grid wherever they end up qualifying, of course. Borussia, Westy, Paulie Orange, Jossi Heinze, Jompalainen, Ireland, Artiero, he left it late to improve. Hibilu 12, YBR 13th with that penalty. Lawrence just getting through, as did Serious Mushroom. Then it is McGee, Droftas, and Enge, and the Nuts Asylum. It was an incredibly close qualifying session. Shame that 4 drivers have to fall, but there's still a chance for them to move up depending on where that Racing Point and the Williams with the penalties qualify. Next it'll be 15 minutes of qualifying 2. So who's do you guys think now could be looking good for the race victory tonight? We've seen Westy be good. 2 very different circuits, Paul Ricard and the Gilles Villeneuve circuit. Borussia, he's always up there, but reminder, he cannot take part in third qualifying. So in terms of qualifying results, 10th is the best he can do, but he said he's aiming for that 11th spot. He's aiming for that fresh choice of tyres, of course. And that is why he's going to be going out on the hard tyres in this qualifying session. Jonathan Cox here taking full responsibility, which is always good to see, and he has been penalised for that, so might actually be better starting off outside the top 10, because he could find himself a rate surrounded by drivers who are on fresher rubber, of course, if he qualifies within the top 10 and then drops a long way back down the grid. So 15 minutes of qualifying to go, and it is Jonathan Cox and Josh, one of the first couple of drivers to head out on track. Quick reminder for you guys, it's the same as Formula 1. Their fastest time in this session, those are the tyres that the top 10 will have to start the race on. So we've seen a few drivers having to set times on their second, third, or even fourth lap on their tyres. They won't want to be doing that in this session. You want as fresher tyres as possible around this circuit. So Jonathan Cox and Josh, the only 2 drivers out at the moment. The others feeling pretty comfortable. Traffic won't be as much of a problem, obviously, in this session. Westy heading out now in the Williams. A few others coming out as well. Interesting to see the split of tyres. You have got 7 drivers who've gone for the soft, 7 on the medium as well. It's only Borussia, the odd one out, going on to that set of hard tyres. Just hear the DRS beat there. I think DRS is such a huge part of this track, especially compared to other circuits. The entire first sector, pretty much, and that straight between turn 3 and 4 as he uses DRS once again. So any battles in this race, you will see them carrying on a long, long way. Obviously purple in the first sector, all times reset. We'll see what sort of time he can do. It is a mid 104 that was the head of the field last time. Expect them to go slightly faster as they're more confident with the car. They're willing to just push it that extra bit harder. And of course, track evolution, oh so important. Expect to see times perhaps in the 103s. Maybe not in this session, but definitely in the final session when they put on those soft tyres to go flat out and all out to get pole position here. Jonathan Cox running a bit wide there through 7 and 8. Got away with it though, didn't lose too much time and didn't invalidate his lap. Perhaps most importantly, he's now coming around the final corner, heading towards the finish line for the first lap in this session. Only a 105.6, but you would expect them to be slightly slower. Got Jon Palainen, another reserve in the Toro Rosso. He's a driver that has shown good in the races that he has done and has shown good in the F2 Championship, where he's really fighting at the head of that with Berussia. So he'll be hoping for a good performance tonight. We'll see what some of the other drivers are doing. Westy, he's looking good through sectors 1 and 2. Said last week he was hoping to take a victory out on track at some point, but he won't mind too much if he keeps finishing second and taking it on penalties, and penalties could be important around here, a bit like Paul Ricard. We've seen how many invalidations there have been, as there is a yellow flag for Artiero, I believe, has binned it coming out of turn 9. Perhaps not the worst place to do it with a pit lane right next to you, so just heading back into the pits. Another fresh set of tyres, no damage done to that Alfa, the sole Alfa remaining in qualifying after Andenge went out. It was Andenge, Droftas, Nuts, Asylum and McGee who were going out, and thank the Lord for ghosting there, otherwise we'd have a bit of chaos in the pit lane. So far it's only Jonathan Cox and Westy that have set lap times. Jossi Heinz is just starting his first flying lap, but Double O, he's one of these drivers that's gone on the soft tyre, so this is going to be interesting to see how he does. Expect him to go fastest at the moment, going for glory at this moment. This will give him obviously a great chance of getting through into the next session, but given his pace in the first qualifying, I'm surprised he's gone for this soft tyres and not for the mediums. Perhaps he just wants to keep those mediums fresh for the race. We'll have to wait and see as we follow him around. He's running very wide there. You want to use as much of the curb and the AstroTurf as possible, but you don't want to be kicking up any gravel as the Mercedes was there. So we'll see what he can do now. Double O flying around the final corner. This will give us an idea of the sort of pace to expect from those who set on the soft tyres this session, and if it's fast enough, this may change a few things. It's a 104.5, pretty similar to what he did in the first session, I have to say. So I'm not seeing huge improvements at the moment, but if a lot of drivers do go on the soft tyres, that might force the hand of those who are trying to get through on the mediums, like championship leader, courtesy of his third podium of the season in France, Paulie Orange, and he's gone purple now in that second sector. We're seeing some good times. He's kept it a lot cleaner, I must say, than Double O. You'd expect him to be slower, but it's just by how much. Jossi Heinz, he's gone just ahead of his teammate now into second place. Still not many drivers setting a lap time. They do like leaving it late, I must say. And Paulie Orange, 105.610. Incredibly close there between those three guys on the medium tyres at the moment. That could lead to a fantastic battle in the final qualifying session if they get there, of course. YBR, he's going around now. Josh, pace setter so often in France, could have got the win, but just got one penalty costing him in the end. But it was still a great debut for the Renault driver. I did see him and Westy racing last night, and they were pretty evenly matched, so hopefully they'll be able to do that again, and we could have another cracking race on our hands here. 104.744 on those medium tyres. Superb lap time from the Renault driver. That puts him in a really good position, because I believe that will be enough to get himself into Q3. So a great job from himself in that Renault. He'll be very pleased. As YBR now in the Williams. His teammate Westy at the moment 6th and last of those drivers who have set a lap time. Heading now round the final corner. Let's see where he puts himself for his first run in this qualifying session. On the soft tyres, it is a 105.192, 6/10 off of pole position, off of the fastest in the session, I should say. But what a great lap that was by Josh. You can just see 8.5 tenths of a second over the next fastest on the medium runners. And it's not like Paulie Orange, Jossi Heinzer and Jonathan Cox are slouchers. They are seriously quick drivers, and we have seen that time and time again this season. Arteiro now, much better through turn 9, keeps the car pointing in the right direction, invalidates his lap at the last minute. And that would have been good enough for first place, and that is a feature we've seen quite often with Arteiro. He just seems to run very wide in qualifying, leaves himself with a lot to do, cost him big in Monaco, a track where you really can't overtake on. Here you've got a better chance, but you still want to get up as high up the grid as possible, so he'll be hoping for a clean lap next time around. Serious Mushroom, his first foray out in this session is a 105.747, 7th place for the Haas driver. Don't think he'd have really expected to get himself into the final qualifying session, but we're hoping to spring a surprise. You never know at the moment. He's just behind his teammate on those slightly softer set of tyres, of course. Now, 8 of the 15 drivers have set a time, and Westy, he has chucked those soft tyres on and gone fastest, 104.488, 29 thousandths ahead of Double O. This is looking like an incredibly close second qualifying session. Be interested to see whether those on the mediums, like Jossi Heinzer and Paulie Orange, will feel the need to go for the soft tyres. Jonathan Cox hasn't. He's come out again on the medium, so he's now heading to start another flying lap. He'll be trying to find some sort of improvement to get himself up near Josh, who is actually going out on the soft, which I find very interesting. Yellow flags in Sector 2. That is just for a slow-moving car, as Jonathan Cox getting out of the way there of Lawrence, who's about to set his first time. That is purple in Sector 1 for the Ferrari, so he's clearly got good straight line speed in the prancing horse, galloping his way now down towards turn 4. Incredibly tricky braking zone for those that aren't using anti-lock brakes down here. Downhill, of course, that does put extra load on the front of the car. If you just brake a metre or two too late, it is so easy to lock up the tyres and head into the gravel trap there. Westy, he thinks he's done enough with 5.5 minutes left to go of this session, but Lawrence on those medium tyres, a reminder, those in the top 10 will go through to Q3 and have to start the race on these tyres that they set their fastest time on in this session. So Westy is going to be starting the race on the softs, you'd have to imagine, as Lawrence now, he heads towards the line. 105.560 puts him in 5th place, just 1/10 over, just over a tenth, separating 5th to 8th place. I would say it's incredibly close on those running the medium tyres, apart from the fact of Josh's incredible 104.7, which was set on the mediums. Jon Palainen's just gone up to 5th with a 105.2. Can he get the Toro Rosso into qualifying? Aylan and Skivan invalidated their first lap times, and they are pretty close to each other on track. Skivan was high up in that first qualifying session, so expect him to maybe set a time similar to what Josh did, but that is looking pretty untouchable for a medium lap time. As you can see, if I go on the best laps, the odd one out there on those mediums. And Skivan is in fact I thought he was heading towards the pit lane there, taking a very interesting line. He has in fact come into the pits. Aylan's invalidated his lap time again, a 105.737. Who's just got enough time to get round the pits and have another go in the McLaren. He'll want to do this, of course. Get himself up into the final qualifying session. Serious Mushroom has retired from the session, so I think he thinks he can't do any more. Double O has as well. What's Marussia doing on those hard tyres? He's aiming for 11th. That is where he is at the moment, of course. And he's invalidated his lap time, so he's running out of time to set a lap, as are quite a few of these guys. You've got Hibilu still in the pits. Skivan's just come back in. Aylan will have to head towards the pits as well. Arturo would have been fastest if he hadn't have invalidated in that first stint that he had in this qualifying session. So hopefully for his sake he can keep it clean in the Alfa Romeo and set a good lap time. He's promised so much, but things just not quite working his way at the moment for the Alfa Romeo driver. I've seen this guy before. He has got definite pace on this F1 game. Hopefully he can show it tonight in the race. Purple in Sector 1, purple in Sector 2 This should be good enough to get him safely into Q3. Jonathan Cox trying the best he can, turning that Racing Point into a bit of a lawnmower to get out of the way of Artillero. Don't want to get another qualifying penalty, and it's a 104.370. Artillero in the Alfa Romeo, fastest. That will be plenty good enough for him to get into the next qualifying session. Skivan on an outlap, Hibilu on an outlap. YBR, I think is he on a fast lap, or is he just heading back to the pits? He's heading back to the pits. A lot of drivers in the pit lane still. Could have a run towards the finish line here. Hopefully no one will get too caught up in traffic. Hibilu, he wants to get a skate on. Jesse Heinze, he's retired from the qualifying session, having set that 105.386. That could be borderline as to whether that's good enough. So we'll see if that's a risk that is worth paying off for the Racing Point driver. His teammate's just behind him, and he's still in the pits. So we'll see what Hibilu can do. He's 15th and last in this qualifying session at the moment. One of 4 drivers yet to set a lap time. The only driver we know who's definitely out of this session so far is Serious Mushroom. He is currently 11th, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him drop a bit more when we see some of these lap times. Maybe Borussia, Alan and Skivan. Hibilu's just gone deep there into turn 3. It was a very good first sector, perhaps a bit too good, and that is why he went straight on there. That has compromised him big style this time around. So let's see what he can do now. Hibilu got yellow flags in sector 2. That's just for the slow moving car. 1.5 minutes left to go, and we're still none the wiser of who's going to be going out in this session. How many of the big title contenders going to be leaving? We know Borussia's got that qualifying ban at the moment. I think we're going to have to see some big improvements to knock some of the drivers like Jon Palainen, YBR and Josh out of this session. So I think they'd be safe. So Lawrence, Jonathan Cox, Jossi Heinze, they could be the big names at risk, and the championship leader, Paulie Orange, of course, who's on those medium tyres on an outlap. Hibilu heads towards the line. 12th place for him. Has got enough DRS to do another lap. Has he got enough fuel in his car? That is another question. Have to wait and see. Skivan now. He's heading towards the line. What can he do in the Renault? And it is 13th place. He's going to have another go at it, of course. I think he's just warming up on that lap, but don't want to put too many laps on those tyres. Jonathan Cox, he's heading around quickly now on an outlap. So not long to go in this session. Borussia's just behind him. And Alan, he'll get round to set another lap time, but I think he'll be the last person across the line to start and therefore finish his lap, of course. So things very interesting in this session, the second qualifying session, round 9 of the Mixed Energy Formula Online Racing League. One more qualifying session to go after this, of course, and then a 36 lap race around this circuit. So we'll just follow Jonathan Cox round on his soft tyres. He's 8th place at the moment. Checkered flag is out. Lawrence not able to improve from P9, so he could be in danger. The hat of Paulie Orange, he's 2 tenths up on his previous best. Needs to move himself up the field, and he's done it. 7th place for the Haas driver. He'll be very impressed with that lap time indeed. That should put him kept safe. Skivan, 104.050, fastest of anyone. That's done enough to get him safe, but he'll be starting on the soft tyres. Jonathan Cox, he's now the man on the bubble. Needs to find an improvement with Borussia and Alan setting times behind him. What can Jonathan Cox do? He comes across the line. It's 3rd place for the Racing Point. Borussia, 105.992. He wanted to start in 11th place. That could still happen after penalties, of course, but he's out of this session as Alan now. He's going to be last man across the line. Bit dodgy out of that final corner. What can the McLaren driver do? 14th position, not able to go through. So Alan, Borussia, the big names to drop out of that session. Borussia obviously having that Q3 ban, so that compromised him slightly, and Lawrence just missing out as well. So it was Skivan who was fastest in that session. Again, another big margin back to Artillero in 2nd place. Jonathan Cox 3rd, Westy 4th, Double O 5th. Josh will be looking very pretty in the race, starting on those medium tyres in 6th at the moment. YBR 7th, Jon Palainen 8th, Paulie Orange 9th, Jossi Heinze just making it through. And like we said, it's Lawrence, Serious Mushroom, Borussia, Alan and Hibilu who are out of that qualifying session, leaving 10 drivers to fight the final 12 minutes. We've had one Renault on top in the first qualifying session, another one on top in the second. It's going to be very interesting, I feel, in this final qualifying session. Can Josh get another pole position? Well, Paulie Orange, championship leader, we didn't see what his pace was like on those soft tyres. Or can Skivan keep up his form? We'll be finding out very shortly around the hills of Spielberg. Quite often you do see a few drivers go out at different times in these final qualifying sessions, so don't expect an absolute rush for the cars to exit the pit lane. We've got one of the Williams, that is Westy, coming out, and a Racing Point sole Mercedes of Double O. If you weren't with us earlier, Droftas, Mr. Consistency himself, currently second in the championship. He's going to have a huge mountain to climb around here, qualifying way down the grid out in Q1. He enjoys fighting his way up through the field, and he's going to have it all to do this time around if he wants to get closer to Borussia himself. It's back to Paulie Orange, sorry, obviously, who's leading the championship. Paulie Orange in this qualifying session. Borussia's just behind Droftas, so all within 10 points. It is incredibly close. He'll be hoping to improve. And Westy, of course, 2 races, 2 wins, a 100% record so far. Good enough to put the Williams driver. He's currently 6th in the championship, only 30 points off the lead. Not bad, because he's only been in 2 races, so what can he do? And Josh as well, it's his second race. He's looking for a second podium in a row and to go one better than last time in the Renault. So who's going to be first person to set a lap time? It's going to be Westy, so we'll follow him around. 104.0, the fastest that anyone managed last time around. Everyone on those soft tyres, of course. Just these, we've got a Renault, I believe, parked in the third sector, I should say. I'm not sure if he was just getting out of the way or they're trying to do something slipstreamy down these straights. Definitely a chance to take advantage of it, but that is a big gap. So looks like probably some tactics from the Renault team in qualifying. But Westy, he's just trying to do it on his own, the old-fashioned way. His teammate and Artiero, the only 2 drivers that have stayed in the pit lane at the moment. So what's Westy doing in this lap? Purple lap times, obviously being the first man around. He'll be looking for a 103. I think anything around 103.6, 103.7 will get you pole position here today and give you a best possible chance of picking up all 25 points as Westy heads towards the line of 104.173. That puts him fastest, obviously, so far. Jonathan Cox invalidating his lap time. Double O. What can he do in the Mercedes? 104.5. Jossi Heinze, second Racing Point. He's now coming across the line. 104.6. So that time of Westy is looking pretty good at the moment. I think it's the Renault drivers we're going to have to watch out for. Josh is going to be the first one, but we'll keep an eye on Skivan, who was fastest in that second qualifying session. Josh with a 103.9. Skivan 104.176, just 3 thousandths off making it a provisional all Renault front row. But Josh 2 tenths up at the moment on everyone else. Paulie Orange and Jon Palainen to set their times. Jon Palainen 6th at the moment. Paulie Orange in the Haas, 4th position for him. So Hibilu here just saying his first Q2 performance and his 15th. But you got there, mate. That's the important thing. In Q2, the pace will come and there's plenty of chances to overtake around here, especially on those fresh tyres. But at the moment, Josh, he is the fastest man. Jonathan Cox has had to head back into the pits after yet to set a lap time. And YBR and Artiero, they're the 2 drivers that are going for something slightly different. So expect them to only set 1 lap time in this qualifying session. Remains to be seen where they will go. And the end of the first runs, it's Josh, Westy, Skivan, Paulie Orange, Double O, Jossi Heinze, Jon Palainen. Slowest of those to set a lap time at the moment. Reserving in the Toro Rosso tonight. Didn't race in France, but was good in Canada and in Monaco. Toro Rosso have got a good driver on their hands tonight. Can he get on to the podium later on? I'll have to wait and see. Paulie Orange, he's just heading back to the pits now So Josh again, he's looking really at one with the car at the moment. That time on the mediums, blistering fast when you compared it to everyone else. That might make him struggle slightly just in the first lap. It takes a bit longer in the race to heat those medium tyres up, and needing the grip off the line, of course. And I wouldn't be surprised if there are some incidents into turn 1. That braking zone is not as long as you think. It's not as easy as an overtaking zone as you'd perhaps think when you first look at the track. You'd be better off just getting a good slipstream down into turn 3, as you can see at the top of the track map. And if not there, heading down towards turn 4. There's where you're going to see the main overtaking opportunities, assisted by DRS. But this circuit is so good, pretty much any corner, except maybe with the exception of turn 9, unless you're incredibly brave and you've got an incredibly good run coming out of 7 and 8. Pretty much anywhere else is on the table for an overtaking manoeuvre. And Josh, not content with that 103.9, unsurprisingly, always wanting to better himself and improve. He is now heading out once again in this qualifying session. We're halfway through the final qualifying. It's Renault 1-3 at the moment, with Westy in his Williams sandwiched between the two of them. Championship leader Paulie Orange currently 4th position. One of the things you can really get appreciation of on this track is the undulation uphill all the way down the pit straight, then heading up again through turns 2, that flat out kink just before turn 3, downhill into the braking zone of turn 4, and you can just see a swooping downhill. That is where a lot of drivers invalidate their lap times. Thankfully the game doesn't have the suspension braking sausage curves that caught out Daniel Kvyat a few years ago. I believe it was 2017. So let's see what Josh can do now in the Renault. Can he get any improvement? I think this could well be his last run. He's not got any slipstream to help him, and he is up just 300ths up through that first sector, so he must have nailed turn 1. Brilliant through 3 as well. DRS open once again, taking the shortest possible route. Got to get this braking zone absolutely spot on. Short shifting to give the car extra traction. It's a tactic you'll see a lot on these drivers. Really don't want to be feathering the accelerator too much, rather put your foot down and head on the shorter gear change. And he's up again. He's nearly a 10th improvement. Hope all the other drivers aren't watching this in a way, because this is going to be disheartening for them at the moment. Josh, can he make another improvement and secure pole position? Great through 9 and 10, flooring the throttle. His Renault, it's a 103.817, even faster than first time around. Will anyone be able to challenge that in the final few minutes? Jussi Heinze, he's not improved in the first sector. Jon Palainen at the moment, I think he must have made a mistake on his first lap. There's 5 tenths off anyone else in this qualifying session at the moment, so we'll see what the Toro Rosso driver can do. But Josh now 3.5 tenths faster than everyone else. He's really laying down a marker, and as I expected, Jon Palainen is improving. This should get him up to around about where Jos and FOROO are, if we see him keep it nice and clean. Not going as wide as Josh did. I think that did actually compromise the Renault driver slightly, so he could have gained even more time, as Jon Palainen does go just ahead of OO and Jos Heinze. That is 5th place for him, and Jos unable to improve. OO, he is ever so slightly improving, a quarter of a second now up on his lap time. If he gets it right through sector 3, could this be good enough to put the Mercedes provisionally on the front row? We'll have to wait and see. 3 minutes going left in this qualifying session. I think this is going to be his final foray at it. OO now in the Mercedes, 4th position. Couldn't find any extra time in that 3rd sector. They're just moving ahead of Paulie Orange and Jon Palainen for now. And Skivan, he's improved slightly, 700ths up. All he needs to do is find 4 thousandths and he will move ahead of Westy and make it a provisional 1-2. And he's slowing down, so clearly thinks he made a mistake there. Has he got enough fuel in the car to do another lap? That is the important question for him. Getting out of the way of OO, I think he'll be heading back towards the pits. He's done a pretty good job so far. Jussi Heinze He's just going to have enough time to get out. YBR are still yet to exit the pit lane, but Arturo, what can the Alpha do? One shot qualifying, pretty much. I think when one shot qualifying was a thing back in 2003, the Renault of of Ralph Furman got it wrong coming out of the final corner. And for those of you with really long memories, as Arturo's invalidated his lap time again. That could be 10th place on the provisional grid for him. He may move up depending on where Jonathan Cox and YBR qualify, both with them penalties, of course. What I was saying about long memories, 1975 Austrian Grand Prix in the wet conditions. Vittorio Brambilla in a March managed to crash across the finish line, but it didn't matter as he took his one and only F1 victory. So has Arturo got enough fuel to get around? He's not going to have enough time to pit and give it another go. Westy, he's down, so this is just a warm-up lap, as we've seen a few of these drivers do. It worked well for Skivan in the last qualifying session, setting a slower first lap and then going all guns blazing on the second one. So let's see what Westy can do this time. 1 minute remaining in this qualifying session. YBR staying in the pit, so if Arturo has got enough fuel, that'll be 10th on the grid for the second Williams. His teammate currently in second. He's got a big improvement to find to challenge Josh, who is going out once again in the Renault. He wants to find even more time this time around, because I see Westy then in a slightly lower gear than Josh. That will give him better acceleration, but at the cost of traction, so he had to be a bit more careful on the throttle than the Renault driver. He's slightly down on his previous best at the moment. Skivan goes just behind his teammate with a 103.884. This is going to have to be a mighty final sector for Westy to get amongst the Renault drivers. What can he do in the Williams? Winner in Canada, winner in France. Where will we start in Austria? Not an improvement, still only in P3. Paulie Orange, he's at the start of his lap. Jonathan Cox invalidated, so hopefully he's got enough fuel to give it another run. The checkered flag is out, and Jossi Heinze, 7th, the best for him. YBR won't be able to do any better than 9th as Arturo again has got it wrong coming out of turn 9, so it's 10th place for him. He will be promoted to at least 9th, and I don't think Jonathan Cox might not be able to do much on this lap. Fuel light showing, obviously. Did he save enough last time around, and has he got enough ERS to get the job done? Josh, he's up again on his previous best. This is really laying a marker down to the rest of the field from the Renault. It's a 103.774. He goes fastest. It's looking like a 1-2 for the Renault boys. What can Paulie Orange do in his Haas just behind Double O? So the championship leader, he will be starting 5th at best. It's only Jonathan Cox now, I think, who's going to be setting a lap time. He's got that 5th-place penalty, of course, but this is just to get himself further up the field, and it is a 104.6. That kept him in 8th place in that qualifying session, but it's a Renault 1-2 with Josh just ahead of Skivan. And I think Josh's final 2 laps would have been good enough for pole position. So you can see there, it's Josh, then Skivan, Westy 3rd, Double O 4th, Paulie Orange 5th in that session, Jon Palainen 6th, Jossi Heinze 7th, Jonathan Cox 8th and 9th. They both have penalties from Q1. And Arturo didn't manage to set a time in that session, invalidated his first run in the wall at turn 9 on his second lap. He will be 10th, but will get promoted up to 8th place, of course. And not a disaster for the Alpha. Definitely not a disaster for the Enstone team. Renault 1-2 in the qualifying session. 36 lap race is about to follow. Must say, an absolutely superlative performance there by Josh once again. He has been class since joining FOR last round. Things looking a lot cloudier though in this session. So could we get a chance of rain? It's happened in the past at Austria. Being in the hills, obviously you do get these own little weather systems. So whether we'll see any rain, we'll have to wait. So it'll be Josh on pole once again. His teammate, though, behind him, Westy, winner of the last few races, will be starting in third position. Double O doing well in fourth. Paulie Orange, championship leader, in fifth. And his two main championship rivals starting outside the top 10, of course. Just waiting for the final few drivers to finalise their setups. Only allowed to change front wing angles after qualifying and tyres. See now they'll be heading out on their formation lap. Just check what tyres everyone is on. We knew what the top 10 would be doing. They're all on softs, apart from Lawrence, Jos Heinze, Paulie Orange and the poleman Josh on the mediums. And further back, Borussia did start 11th in the end, thanks to the penalties for Jonathan Cox and YBR. So Jonathan Cox and YBR being forced to start on their soft tyres from Q2. Borussia on the hards. Everyone else outside the top 10 has gone for the mediums, apart from Nuts Asylum. In last in the Ferrari, he's going to be looking fast at the start of the race as he has gone for the soft tyres. So a quick reminder, once again, these stream, as all FOR streams, sponsored by Mixed Energy. Check out the link in the description. Don't forget to use the code FOR2020 to get a 10% discount. Use it for all your daily exercise needs at the moment. Just make sure you're only going out once, because you don't want Boris on your back. Also sponsored by Player One Coffee. Link in the description for the exclusive discount code. We're heading round now, and I think, is that Nuts Asylum has managed to get it wrong on the formation lap. Did so well last time out in France. Did so well in the last F2 running as well in Baku not so long ago. Just things not going well for him so far in Austria, but still a long way to go, of course. There'll be 36 laps, and it's looking very overcast around the Red Bull Ring. Could we see any rain, perhaps? That could really spice up things in this race. We'll soon find out. Can Josh get his first win? Will his teammate get it? Can Westy make it 3 in a row? Will Paulie Orange extend his championship lead? The Haas in fifth at the moment, and the second highest runner on those medium tyres. The grid now just forming, just waiting for the last couple of cars to get round. With the lights starting to come on. Anticipation building. The revs building. Heartbeats racing. 2, 3, 4, 5. Waiting for the lights to go out. We're racing here at Austria. It's a very slow start from Jon Palainen behind, and that's allowed Artiero to get well, but Josh holding on just ahead of his teammate at the moment, running wide to avoid any collision. But Stevens got an incredible one coming out of turn 1. The two Renaults are going to be going side by side at turn 2. We've got Double O in the background challenging Westy as well, but Josh has managed to hold on, and Double O's got into the back of Skivan. Big damage on the front wing of that Mercedes. So that's Westy back into third. Paulie Orange has kept it clean in fourth. Artiero battling with Jos Heinze as they head down towards turn 4. Artiero on the inside line. He is able to hold off. Lawrence and Serious Mushroom have moved up some positions as well. I will now change so you can just see how everyone has made movements on this lap. YBR going up 4 places. Jon Palainen dropping 8 after that nightmare start for him. But out ahead, it's Josh still in the lead. He had to hold off his teammate hard on this first lap. Skivan in second, then Westy and Paulie Orange. I wouldn't be surprised to see these 4 maybe escape slightly now because of his definite damage on Double O's car. Hopefully we'll get a good enough camera angle. I think it might be his right front wing end plate that is completely missing. As further back, Serious Mushroom just pulling out the slipstream and having a bit of a look at the car ahead of him of Lawrence, but Droftas spinning out of the final corner. Big damage to that front wing. We don't even need a close-up to see a big chunk carbon fibre missing from that Mercedes. He's going to have to go all the way round. Hibilu's headed into the pits for the hard tyres. Not sure if that was because of damage or he's just wanting to ditch his tyres early on in this race. But it's Josh, Skivan, Westy, Paulie Orange. Double O's not doing too bad. He's holding on. It's actually the left side of that front wing that is damaged. He's holding on, but I think this middle sector is where we'll see it affect him the most, as Lawrence trying to get alongside Jos Heinze. Not going to quite get alongside there and past unless you are far enough ahead on the outside line. But this is just holding Lawrence up at the moment. Jos Heinze is now actually dropping back quite severely from Artiero. DRS will be enabled next time around, of course. A bit of a train behind the Racing Point. So it'll be interesting to see if he's got any damage. Everything looks clear as Skivan sets the fastest lap of this race. And on this next straight, he will have DRS. Westy will have DRS as well. You can see that flap in the rear wing opening. Already getting some penalties. Westy's got the best view here. He'll be wanting to get his pop count out. But Skivan staying safe at the moment. Rule number 1 of Formula 1. Do not take out your teammates. The DRS open on all these cars once again. Lawrence has managed to get past Jussi Heinze. I think Jompalainen's dropped back even more, so it's been a nightmare start from the Toro Rosso. There's Jonathan Cox. He's trying to go all the way around the outside of YBR. Both these guys having penalties in qualifying, fighting for the final points position. At the moment, Jonathan Cox is going to have the inside for turn 6. That's both Racing Points into the points as Artiero has managed to get past Double O. That front wing damage beginning to cost him at the moment. Josh hanging on at the moment from Skivan, Westy, Paulie Orange, Artiero all being dragged on as well. Serious Mushroom is right on the back of Jussi Heinze at the moment as Josh sets the fastest lap of the race. Got yellow flags in Sector 3 and that is the Nuts Asylum facing the wrong way. He is trying to get used to having no traction control, of course. He's finding it difficult at the moment, but he's still running in 17th. Looks to have got away without any damage. And as Murray Walker said, anything can happen in Formula 1, and it usually does. Serious Mushroom alongside Jussi Heinze there now, forcing his way through at turn 3. Really feel like the Racing Point is holding him up. He's got DRS off the car in front as well, but Jussi Heinze getting in the background. He's going to have a go surely down into turn 4 on the brakes. He's on the medium tyres. Careful not to lose a front wing, and now he's got his teammate not too far behind him. Borussia is in 12th place at the moment. Droftas has pitted as well for the hard tyres, obviously after that huge front wing damage, so he's going to try and get to the end on those, I believe. 19th and last place at the moment. Nightmare starts to the race for second place in the championship. The championship leader, however, he's got an Alfa Romeo all over the back of him, and he's going to have to try and defend this without DRS. Artiero, fastest lap of the race from the Alfa. He's showing good pace. He wants to get involved in this action. He very nearly got involved with the tyre barrier there. Well held. Double O is doing an incredible job, I must say, to hang on with that damage. Whether he'll change his front wing at the stop, I don't know, but I'd imagine it would be the best idea to do so. Artiero still all over the back of Paulie Orange. We've got some moves in the background as YBR's got into the points at Jussi Heinze's extent. That Racing Point is really struggling. Artiero, though, down the inside into turn 4. DRS got him within range. Did the pass under braking. 4th place for the Alfa. Can he catch up to the leaders? As up ahead, we actually miss this. Skivan getting ahead of Josh. Skivan is on the better tyres, you'd expect, at the moment on those softs. And Westy's looking racy as well. So maybe starting on the mediums wasn't the greatest idea. We'll have to wait and see, because out of those that did start on the mediums inside the top 10, Jussi Heinze has dropped back. Josh has dropped as well. Paulie Orange maintaining his position, but Artiero's gained 4 places and is showing good pace at the moment. Westy's not close enough to have a go at Josh or Skivan this time around. This DRS train might just help Josh defend slightly from second place. He'll be able to go a lot longer, of course, in this race. They'll both be aiming to make a one-stop strategy work. It's just how long can they get these tyres to last. I'd expect another 5 laps possibly off these drivers on the softs. As further back, Lawrence, he's managed to get past Serious Mushroom, Jompalainen and Borussia battling for 11th and 12th. Jussi Heinze has dropped back even more. He's really not enjoying this Red Bull ring. Aylan, though, looking to the inside of Borussia. Discretion, the better part of Valor, going to fight that battle another day at the moment. We're on lap 6 and there's been plenty of overtaking action here. Round 9 of FOR PS4 Season 1. We've still got 30 laps remaining. Still a medal 1-2 as well up ahead, but it's the opposite order to what they were in qualifying. It's Skivan, then Josh and Westy just remaining in DRS. Artiero's got himself within DRS range, but has earned himself a 3-second penalty while doing so. Very good exit off of turn 1, I must say, by Josh. He's underneath Skivan, who's not feeling the need to go defensive this time around, but maybe if Josh can get it nice and tight on the brakes. You'll just see that concertina effect. They've got closer together. Now they'll stretch out ever so slightly, but the soft tyres still holding up well off the corners, and he's able to pull away. Jonathan Cox and Serious Mushroom swapping places, yo-yoing between 8th and 9th at the moment, but Jonathan Cox looks to have got a bit further away. Right down the low order of the field though, Bavusha 14th, Alan in 15th at the moment. These two have dropped back behind Yossi Heinze and Anden, so not sure if there was any incident there as Jos trying to move his way up through the field. Seems to have had a train behind him every time we've watched him on stream at the moment. It's now Anden's, Bavusha and Alan, as Alan trying to get alongside there, just not enough of an overlap to get it done into turn 7. It's been non-stop action so far throughout the field. It's just what we've come to expect to see, and they're not disappointing tonight. These 19 drivers all still in the race. Bavusha's ran wide there, slightly coming out of turn 10. Said it's tough to overtake into this first corner. Alan, is he going to be brave enough on the brakes, or just wait until this second DRS zone? Again, Bavusha getting on the curb on those hard tyres. He's not enjoying them at the moment. Up ahead, you've got Andenge and Yossi Heinze battling tooth and nail. Bavusha, he's got the inside line. Andenge is going to be forced the long way around. Red Bull keeps himself ahead, and YBR has got past Jon Palainen as well. Order still remaining unchanged up front, however. And Yossi Heinze trying to get back at Andenge now. Not able to do so. So the Alfa Romeo said he's been having a few connection issues today. Don't seem to be affecting him too much at the moment. He's in 12th place, and Bavusha and Alan still going at it. Is Alan able to get the cutback? Not alongside, so won't be able to do anything into 7 and 8. But while these two are battling, they have dropped a long way back behind the Alfa and Racing Point ahead. That is costing them. Could be crucial at the end of the race, as we see the first of the soft tyre runners to head into the pits. YBR. They were used from qualifying, of course. He's managed 8 laps on those, so it won't be too long, I feel, before we see a few more drivers pit in for the medium or hard tyres. Josh getting close to his teammate again through turn 3, but not able to do anything. They are dragging along Artiero, Paulie Orange with them as well. Westy in 3rd place at the moment. This will be his 3rd podium in 3 races here at FOR. Only Paulie Orange at the moment has managed to be in the top 3 times. And Paulie Orange has still got a chance, obviously, on those medium tyres, as is Josh. Expect them to go longer and be lightning fast towards the end of the race. As Bavusha and Alan are still battling the McLaren 2 wheels on the dirt, going rallycross here at the Red Bull ring. And he's now in a bit of a Red Bull sandwich, because all this battling is allowing McGee to close up as well. Bavusha really struggling for grip on those hard tyres at the moment. He'll be wanting to take them as long as possible. And it's not just those tyres he's struggling with. He's missing his left front wing end plate. So he'll have to be nice and careful, but he's doing a great job, I must say, with that damage to hold off from Alan at the moment. Further up, Josh looking close to Skivan once again, but still not able to do anything. Paulie Orange and Artiero battling. Again, those medium tyres beginning to come into their own now, we're seeing. A few of these guys battle through the field past those who started on the soft tyres, as Josh has got ahead of Skivan down into turn 4. We just saw that happening ahead, using the extra grip that those mediums are now affording. He is into 1st place, and I'm sure we'll see Skivan, Westy, Artiero picks over the next couple of laps. Just outside the points, it's Andenge and Yossi Heinze battling for 11th place. Nothing doing though for the Racing Point at the moment. He's going to have to stay in 12th for the rest of this lap. Skivan and Westy, they are carrying on a bit more. Artiero as well, he's actually dropped back ever so slightly thanks to that battling that he was involved in with Paulie Orange. Paulie Orange just hanging back. He knows he needs to get past this Alfa Romeo, because he will be losing time behind it. The Alfa doesn't have DRS now, though, of course. And Westy just behind Skivan as well. Is he going to get past the Renault driver on the brakes into turn 3? Thinks better of it this time around, but you can just see Josh pulling away ahead of them. I wouldn't be surprised to see some pit stops soon from these guys to try and get an undercut on each other. Skivan not really defended into turn 4 once again, and Westy gets up into 2nd position for now. Paulie Orange staying in 5th. Jonathan Cox, so he's on the inside of Lawrence. This battling's allowed Serious Mushroom to catch up as well. Lawrence on those medium tyres, so he'll be going longer. He doesn't want to get caught up in this battling. Not really in the same race at the moment as Jonathan Cox and Serious Mushroom, as they're running different strategies, but keeps finding himself battling with these guys. And Jonathan Cox back up into 7th place, and you can just see the Mercedes of Double O ahead, as we are now seeing some pit stops. Ski Van in, Altiero in. That's going to promote Paulie Orange into 3rd place. And just to prove the point that I was making about those mediums being the best tyres at the moment, Josh up ahead, a 107.3 fastest lap. Now, what tyres are these pit stops going to change on to? Ski Van has gone for the hards, Altiero for the mediums, Double O for the mediums as well, Jonathan Cox for the mediums. So Ski Van going for something different. He will be slower initially on those tyres, but can probably afford to just push them a little bit harder. Won't have to be careful. So we'll see if that works. So Serious Mushroom and Lawrence. Lawrence, I think, got forced a bit wide there at turn 3. Where have we seen that happen before in Formula 1? He is now down into 5th position. Got rid of Jonathan Cox, who was pitted, but he's now finding himself stuck behind the Haas driver at the moment. So it's Josh now in the lead of this race. 2.3 seconds ahead of Westy, who's just ahead of Paulie Orange and Serious Mushroom. Out of those who started on the tops, on the softs, it is only Westy, Serious Mushroom and Jon Palainen who have yet to pit. But Serious Mushrooms were slightly fresher, as he didn't make it into Q3, of course. And Westy and Serious Mushroom are carrying on just a bit longer, as is the car of Jon Palainen. So after those pit stops, Ski Van getting out quite a bit ahead of Artiero. Jonathan Cox further behind. He actually gained a place on Double O himself. That pit stop period worked out well for the Racing Point, as we see the Ferrari here. He's now going to try it round the outside of turn 3. Got it done before the braking zone. And those medium tyres coming into their own on that Ferrari now. He is up into 4th position, currently 7.5 seconds off of a podium slot, as we're here on lap 13. Still Josh, Westy and Paulie Orange, your front 3, but we have seen a few pit stops. So after these guys pit, I'd expect Ski Van to be leading the race. What is Westy going to look like at the end of this? Will he drop behind Artiero? In fact, these we'll find out soon enough, because the Williams is now heading into the pits. 12 laps, 13 it will be, of course, as he crosses the line, so that's enough for him on those tyres. Serious Mushroom carrying on another lap, as is Jon Palainen. Jon Palainen is on his tyres, so we'll see where he comes out. Does Westy relevant to Ski Van? Westy gone for the medium tyres. He's going to be behind Ski Van, who is flying on those hards. It's just whether he's behind Artiero's now. The Alfa Romeo's coming down the straight. Hasn't got a slipstream, which I think could have helped him. And in the end, Westy still coming out comfortably ahead. So the undercut not really working for him. Interestingly, but Russia has pitted onto the soft tyres. So that is a 2-stop strategy the Red Bull driver will be going for. Started on the hards. I imagine he'll now be going soft for the final 2 stints. He will be looking lightning fast towards the end of this race. But it's Josh, Paulie Orange, Lawrence, your top 3 at the moment. Ski Van leading out of those that are fitted. I'd expect Westy now on the fresher tyres though, and the softer tyres, to just start reeling in the Renault driver. It's going to be a while before Josh, Paulie Orange and Lawrence pit. I'd expect them to carry on until at least lap 20, lap 21, 22 perhaps. The Serious Mushroom, he now comes into pits, and Jon Palainen. And so all the soft tyre runners have come into the pit lane. That's going to put Andenge into 4th place and Jossi Heinze into 5th, although the Racing Point has Ski Van closing up ever so slightly at this moment in time. Lap 15 here. Westy getting a penalty. That's how hard he's pushing to close up onto the back of Ski Van. Could that be crucial at the end of the race, especially if we see any safety cars that will bunch the field up? But we've still got all 19 runners here at the Austrian Grand Prix. Ski Van in the DRS zone. He's not going to be close enough to have a go into turn 4, surely. Even the Renault of Ricciardo would have thought that was a bit optimistic, and Ski Van just hanging back, biding his time, but following Josh through these corners is going to lose him lots of time. Is he able to cut back through 7 and 8? Not close enough, and this is what Westy's going to need. Sure, the Renault will get past that Racing Point into turn 1 or on the straights just afterwards, and you can see him overhead just moving all over the track. This is costing him time, and this is allowing Westy to close the gap. Skivan can't really afford to stay stuck behind that Racing Point too much longer, and I think he's going to get the move done into turn 1. DD does, so Skivan moving into 5th place. Jossi Heinze entitled. They're still fighting. There's a big contact between them. Skivan has gone off. Has he got any damage? He's lost his front wing completely. All a bit unnecessary. The move had been done. Jossi Heinze was still trying to fight it. And in the end, that ever so slightly spun Skivan around. He's going to have to head in to the pits. Disaster for the Renault driver. Westy, I'm sure, will be glad to move up a position, but that's not how he'll have wanted to do it. He is now in 5th and leading out of those that have pitted. It's all about how long Josh can do. Unfortunately, we won't get to see how those hard tyre strategies will have worked for Skivan. He's dropped behind Altiero, Aylan, McGee, now down in 10th position, and will surely have to come in with the amount of damage on the front wing of that Renault car. That will promote Jonathan Cox and Double O up a few places. Serious Mushrooms closed up onto the back of Double O. Jossi Heinze is heading into the pits as well, so he must have also had damage from that incident. That's took the Renault and the Racing Point really out of contention for the serious points positions in this race. DRS, you just hear him opening on Serious Mushrooms car. Jon Palainen behind as well. They've moved up into 11th and 12th place. Skivan coming out on the medium tyres. They'll take him comfortably towards the end, and he's going to come out not too far behind Borussia in the end. In fact, Hibilu might get the Renault as well, but I'm sure Skivan will be hoping to catch up to Jossi Heinze and try and get past him once again. Hibilu, yet he pitted earlier on lap 1, of course, so you can just see as we get the pit stops up now who has still yet to pit. You do have to run 2 types of tyres, forcing you into a pit stop. Josh, Paulie Orange and Lawrence, Andenge, Aylan, McGee all started on those medium tyres, so expect them to move onto the softs at the end as Jossi Heinze. He's come out of the pit lane straight into a battle with Borussia, only for 14th and 15th at the moment. Borussia, he'll want to stay ahead. He needs free traffic to make this 2-stop strategy work and try and get into the points here at the moment. Jossi Heinze not able to fight back at the moment, so he's going to stay in 15th. Nearly at the halfway point of this race, though, and it is now Josh with a 4.6 second lead over Paulie Orange. Lawrence a further 10 seconds back. It's looking good for the Renault driver at the moment to take his first win, but a lot can change in the pit stop periods, of course. He's going to come out behind Westy whenever he does pit. He'll be wanting to carry on a few more laps to get the most out of those medium tyres and change onto the softs. Just can Westy hold on later on? That is the question. He might now start getting held up, though, as he is catching up to the traffic of those who haven't pitted. He's got Andenge not too far ahead. We saw how well it went for Skivan as he was trying to make his way through that traffic who was yet to stop. Didn't go to plan to him. So Westy might just have to be a bit cautious here after seeing what's happened earlier. Andenge is going to be the first target. I'd expect him to get this move done into turn 3 as he's going to have far superior grip at this moment in the race. And you can just see Andenge squirming slightly. Not sure if that is lag, not sure if that's his tyres, but the end result, comfortable for Westy. He is up into 4th place. He is flying at the moment. I hope he's not taking too much out of those tyres because he'll want them to get to last to the end. He knows that he needs to be as far ahead of Josh as possible when that Renault driver does come into the pits to have a chance of making it 3 victories in a row for the Williams driver. It's going to be a fascinating final couple of laps. Aylan and McGee, 2 drivers that are still yet to pit, 7th and 8th at the moment, so they might get into the lower points at the end of this race, especially if anything happens to those that have pitted earlier on. Not been an ideal race for Aylan in the McLaren. Got a podium a fortnight ago in Canada. He's currently 5th in the championship. Him and Droftas have really shown just how consistency can work your way up in the championship. What I said about Westy pushing is definitely true. You can see there, 107.321. It's faster than anyone has done. He's pushing hard on those medium tyres at the moment. He's got the gap down to the leader to 17 seconds and just 2 seconds behind Lawrence at the moment. Aylin and McGee have now got Jonathan Cox joining them. So McGee, he's going to take the inside line into turn 3 using the DRS. Gets ahead before the braking zone. Aylin trying to fight around the outside. He's gone deep ever so slightly as Stephen now sets the fastest lap. Jonathan Cox says thank you very much. He will take that 8th position and McGee will be his next target. Again, wanting to make use of these fresh tyres to work his way up the traffic as smoothly as possible. And Stephen, I think, got a bit of red mist ahead of him at the moment. 16th position. Can he salvage some points in the Renault? We're looking at a very promising race for the Renault team. Further back, 17th position, you've got Hibilu and Nuts Asylum battling. Hibilu's been on those hard tyres for 18 laps at the moment. Only Drofdas behind him. I think before this race, if you'd have told Hibilu and Nuts Asylum they'd have Drofdas behind them, they'd have been pretty impressed with how their race is going. But Drofdas just having a bit of a nightmare at the moment in the Mercedes. Is this going to be a non-score for the man second in the championship? He can't really afford that with how well Paulie Orange and Westy are doing at the moment. Westy especially though, he's now catching up to Lawrence. He's in the DRS zone. He's not going to be close enough as we have a yellow flag in sector 3 and Skivan is out of this race. Said he was pushing hard and driving a bit with a red mist. Has he lost it coming out of turn 10? I believe, and a virtual safety car. VSC, you just see the Renault there missing its front left corner, and that timing has worked out perfectly for Josh. He dives into the pits. This could be oh so crucial in the final results of this race. Josh in, Paulie Orange will be in as well. Surely Lawrence will follow. Going to leave a big job to get those softs to the end, of course, but they've got less fuel than they had earlier on. This is going to gain these two leaders a lot of time. Will it maybe get Paulie Orange out ahead of Westy? No, he's going to be a lot closer, though, than the Williams driver will like. The end result of that, Josh has maintained the lead at the moment. Surprised that Andenge didn't take advantage of that VSC and head into the pits. So Lawrence still in the pits. McGee's coming as well. Aylin, he's stayed out on track. So I think we could see a few more pit stops maybe. VSC over, DRS re-enabled. Now Josh has a 5-second lead. We'll just wait a few seconds maybe for it to recalibrate itself. Things get back to normal. 4.5 seconds, Josh, on those soft tyres. As long as he can make them last the remaining 14.5 laps, he is looking very good to take his first victory of the season. We've got Westy in second. Paulie Orange, though, he'll be fighting to try and get second position. He's 2 seconds behind Westy at the moment. Only Andenge in between them, and I'd expect that Alfa Romeo to either peel into the pits or provide no resistance for the Haas driver. Definite mix-up of the field thanks to that VSC. Sometimes you just need a bit of luck. Lawrence, he's now in 6th position, so he's looking pretty good to get some good results in that Ferrari. And you can just see there, Paulie Orange didn't even need to wait for turn 1. He's up to 3rd position. As Westy, he knows he's got to push hard, earns himself a penalty. Yellow flag in sector 2. Not sure what that was for. But Nuts Asylum and Hibilu was just coming through there, so not sure if they got together. You can see by that track map going purple just how hard Paulie Orange is pushing at the moment. Westy is going to have to drive in the widest Williams in Austria if he wants to do anything and keep that second position for now. Gap coming down all the time from Paulie Orange. I wouldn't be surprised to see fastest lap of the race here from either the Haas driver or the Renault of Josh, who has extended that lead to 6.5 seconds. If you ever wanted a 2-minute demonstration of the importance of fresh tyres and the different compounds in Formula 1, there we have it. Just look how Westy has dropped back from Josh and is being reeled in by Paulie Orange. 106.0, fastest lap of the race from the Renault driver at the lead of this race. Paulie Orange in the DRS zone. Westy not needing to go defensive into turn 1. Feel like he'll have to do so into turn 2 and 3. But will he be able to fight back? Has he got the tools to fight back against the Haas driver? He's going to the inside. Paulie Orange is like, fine, I'll just try and drive around the outside of you. Later on the brakes, on the fresher rubber, a straightforward pass. And the Haas driver is up into second place. 6.8 seconds off the lead 13 laps to go. It's going to be a big challenge for Paulie Orange, but he will be pushing as hard as possible to try and take his third victory of the season. Championship leader looking good at the moment in second position. Just back behind these guys, you've got Andenge and Artiero, 4th and 5th. Andenge doing well, 23 laps on those mediums. Still yet to pit, of course. As Nuts Asylum, he's now retired from the session. I believe he's just pulled into the pits and retired. I'll have to wait and see here. Yeah, in the pit lane, thankfully, so that shouldn't cause any problems. And Denge headed into the pits as well, so that frees his teammate. He'll be hoping to keep all of that 4th place because Lawrence in the Ferrari, red car, red tyres, he will be flying on to the back, and that'll be a great result for the Ferrari driver. He's managed to keep it clean in this race, and he's showing the pace that we know he has. Jonathan Cox 6th, Double O not too far behind in 7th. Double O looks like he's going to be the only Mercedes to score points so often this season. We've said he's going to finally get some points, and things have just not worked out for him. Will this be the day for him? He's got a third of the race to try and get past. As Jossi Heinze, he's also retired in the pit, so they're all finding it very tricky around this Austrian track all of a sudden. Just 3 drivers have retired in the last couple of laps. As Double O, is he going down the inside on the racing point? Oh, that was a long, long way back. Jonathan Cox tried to give him room, but Double O just going in deep. No damage done, but a bit of a warning to Jonathan Cox that he's definitely there. Jon Palainen, he's just 2 seconds behind these guys if they trip over each other once again. 11 laps remaining though, and Paulie Orange is closing that gap ever so slightly. Went down to 6 seconds at one point there. I'll check the penalties in the final few laps just to give an idea of that situation, but we'll see how they can do now. Aylan heading into the pits. He's the last driver, I believe, to ditch those medium tyres. Great 25 lap stint from him. He'll be flying towards the end, but it'll be a tall order to try and get back into the points from him. And Denge coming out in 9th place. Just check where he started this race. Started in 18th position in the Alfa. He's in 9th on the soft tyres as Double O. He's gone down the inside at turn 3 on Jonathan Cox. Jonathan Cox trying to fight back. He's going to have the DRS. Tucking underneath the rear wing of that Mercedes. It's the pink Mercedes versus the silver Mercedes. There's Jonathan Cox. Is he able to do it around the outside? No. Can he get the cutback? Double O getting a good exit. That is the Mercedes up into 6th position. All this battling, as I said, is allowing Jon Palainen and Denge gain 9 places from the start, and on those soft tyres could easily find himself gaining a few more here. Could be a very good race for the Alfa Romeo team in 4th and 9th at the moment. They are both in the points. You've also got both Haas drivers in the points, with Serious Mushroom just hanging on to 10th position from now, with YBR just 3.1 seconds behind at the moment. As Jonathan Cox, this is the big battle out on track at the moment. He's lining up Double O at the moment. Had a bit of a feint into turn 1 just to remind the Mercedes driver that he is there. He's looking for the outside this time. He's going to have to be extremely late on the brakes to get it done there. Double O not allowing any quarter, but the Mercedes has gone deep. This is the chance Jonathan Cox needed. He's got alongside. He's got DRS. He's got the inside line. He takes 6th position once again in the racing point. Is the Mercedes able to fight back? He's going to try round the outside. A bit more contact. No damage done, thankfully. But all this battling, allowing Jon Palainen and Denge to catch up. We're soon going to be going from a 2-car battle for 6th position to a 4-car battle for 6th. Further back, McGee, he's managed to get a move done on turn 4 on the Williams of YBR using those fresher tyres. He's in 11th. Can the Red Bull driver sneak his way into a points-paying position tonight? It's lap 28 at the moment. Josh with a 6-second lead over Paulie Orange. Westy looking to make it 3 podiums out of 3 races in 3rd at the moment. You can see Jonathan Cox, now the Hunter, has become the Hunted once again. He's feeling the need to go defensive. Double O down the inside into turn 3. Very late on the brakes. He went deep last time around. This time he's got it stopped. He's got a good exit as well. So even though Jonathan Cox is going to have the DRS, I don't think they'll be able to do anything at the moment. What can Andenge do? He's now fighting with Jon Palainen. Double O still fighting extremely hard at the moment. Hibila's got a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so bit of a nightmare race for the Toro Rosso driver down in 15th. He is a lap down, as is Droftas. That's a phrase I definitely didn't expect to be saying at the start of the night. This is where the action is at the moment though. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, running line astern on the run down. Turn 9 at the moment. The cars in front, the Mercedes and the Racing Point, 16 lap old medium tyres, Jon Palainen, 13 lap old mediums, but they're nothing compared to the 3 lap old softs of Andenge. He's on the inside to turn 1, he's going to get the move done. Alfa Romeo, 8th position for now. Is Jon Palainen able to fight back? They've all got DRS, of course, so apart from Double O, who seems to be doing pretty well on this lap and pulling away, so now that he's maybe got ahead of Jonathan Cox, he feels like he was being held up. Jon Palainen trying the cutback, not able to do so. He'll be staying in 9th position for now. For the final points position, McGee, now that he's free of YBR, is closing up to Serious Mushroom. So we're going to see some battles in the final part of these races. Lawrence, 3.5 seconds behind Artiero with 7 laps remaining. Going to be a big ask for the Ferrari driver to move up into 4th position and of course to keep their soft tyres in good condition. Can Josh and Paulie Orange do that? Paulie Orange's pursuit of Josh seems to have tailed off a bit. He's keeping that gap at about 6.5 seconds now. Westy, he's only 3 seconds behind the Haas. I don't think that fight for second place is over yet. We could still see a battle on track for the final few points positions. For the final podium positions, I'd say. We are seeing a battle on track for the final points positions. Double O still ahead of Jonathan Cox, who's not going to be worrying about attacking this time around. He's going to have defensive mode switched on. He's moving to the outside, and then he'll take the inside line with glee, down the inside on the brakes into 7th place. Although I've just noticed Andenge does have damage on that front wing. It's not affecting him too much at the moment. He stays in 7th, and he's already in the slipstream of Double O. He's going to try and go round the outside of turn 4. That'll be an incredibly brave move if he can pull it off, but he's not able to do so. Jonathan Cox, he's going to have Jon Palainen all over the back of him soon. Andenge fighting extremely hard at the moment. I'll just quickly now check the penalty situation for the lead drivers. Josh yet to get a penalty. Paulie Orange has 2 and is 1 warning away from another. And Westy also 2 penalties and 1 warning away from another penalty. Artiero is on 3, and I'll just quickly check Lawrence. He has kept it fairly clean with only 1 penalty, so he could still get 4th at the moment, as Artiero's got himself another time penalty as I was saying that. So I believe it was him who got disqualified last time around. He needs to keep it clean, otherwise he's going to drop a long way down the field at the moment. Andenge, is he going to be able to have a go round the outside of Double O, forcing the Alfa off track slightly. That doesn't matter though for this Alfa Romeo. He's got so much more grip at the moment. He takes 6th position, and Double O didn't get DRS. Neither of them have got it, as Jon Palainen has managed to get past Jonathan Cox for 8th and 9th place at the moment. So these guys are battling hard. Lawrence is catching up at the moment as Double O, he's going to try it down the inside at turn 7. Not able to do anything about it this time around, so Double O stays in 7th. Will Andenge be able to pull away despite that damage, or will the DRS just allow Double O, Jon Palainen and Jonathan Cox to stay within range? They've only got 5 laps remaining to try and hold these positions. Lawrence, he's now 3.2 behind Artiero. He's going to have that place even without penalties, but he'll be wanting to do it out on track, I am sure. Double O in that slipstream of Andenge. Surely the Alfa Romeo is going to have to stay defensive on board with Jon Palainen at the moment as Double O tries to go for the outside line. Andenge, the lag just jumping him ahead there, and there's a bit of contact between them as Jon Palainen, he's now got to run on Double O. He's got ahead of the Mercedes, who I'm sure will be fighting tooth and nail to try and get back. These medium tyres are beginning to run out. Is he going to go for the inside? Surely not. Jon Palainen gives him space, perhaps give him a bit too much space, because that's given Double O a great run. Is he going to be able to just sweep it all the way around the outside? Great move from Double O. He stuck his nose in. Jon Palainen gave him space, compromised his own line. That's allowed Double O to retake 7th place, and has just given Andenge a bit of an escape at this moment. He'll be a brave man to predict who's going to finish where out of these guys at the moment. with 4 laps remaining. Up for the lead of this race though, Josh 6.6 seconds ahead. He's looking pretty comfortable. And Paulie Orange 2.5 seconds ahead of Westy, and those two are same on the penalty situation at the moment, with Josh yet to have a penalty. That's what cost him last time around the win. Double O defenceless from Jon Polainen, and Toro Rosso retaking that 7th position. Jonathan Cox, he's trying to stick his nose in and get involved as well, but nothing doing this time around. Jon Polainen actually managed to get DRS off of either Andenge or Double O. Must have been off Double O, as Double O going to try and have a go down the inside. Not able to do so. Got yellow flags in sector 1 and 2, and that is YBR, who is facing the wrong way, I believe. So YBR, has he damaged his car? Yeah, missing that left side of his front wing, so he's not going to score any points. Jonathan Cox, he's trying to go round the outside of Jon Polainen at turn 7. That's not a conventional passing place. He doesn't care. Jonathan Cox is in 8th position at the moment. All this battling is, of course, allowing Andenge to just escape ever so slightly. He is now outside of risk of DRS, so it looks like Alfa Romeo's could be 4th and 6th on track. Artiero's definitely going to go down because of penalties, and as Andenge has just picked up one, that might affect him as well. So we are now on lap 34. Jon Polainen in the DRS range, not able to do anything this time around. It's been a pretty calm turn 3 compared to previous laps for these drivers. All getting fairly even exits as those tyres are beginning to wear out more and more. YBR heading into the pits with damage. I think one battle we are going to have to watch though. Westy has closed that gap all of a sudden. Just 2 laps to go. It's got it down to about 1.5 seconds at the moment. His tyres will last towards the ends, as will Paulie Orange's, but those softs are becoming a bit second best on the Haas at the moment. Could we see a swap for 2nd and 3rd position? We will have to wait and see. Jon Polainen still all over the back of Jonathan Cox, who is still all over the back of Double O. How long is it going to be before these guys are battling again? Hopefully they don't make any contact towards the end. McGee in 11th. He's managed to get in DRS range of Serious Mushroom, so could the Red Bull sneak into the points? It's not gone well for Borussia in 13th, or Droftas 16th and last at the moment. DRS open on Jonathan Cox, open on Jon Polainen. Jonathan Cox trying to make it round the outside of Double O. Nothing doing this time around. Has that compromised his line slightly? Jon Polainen just a bit too far back. Double O, he's not bothering to go defensive this time around. Jonathan Cox says thank you very much. Down the inside into turn 4. Double O trying to cut back. He's cut the corner slightly. Lost a lot of time. Got himself a penalty. And I think that will be 9th place best for him at the moment. Seems to be going very slow at the moment. Yellow flags in sector 3 as Hibilo has retired from the session. And that is a crash. That is a big shunt for Hibilo. Will that bring out the safety car? We're on the final lap of the race, so that would just nullify everything, which is a shame because we've got some great battles brewing up here with Jon Polainen just behind Jonathan Cox. I think Westy's too far back to have a go at Paulie Orange. So we'll carry on watching this battle. Jon Polainen not able to have a go at Jonathan Cox this time around. Can he line him up into turn 2 and then on the run down into turn 3? Jonathan Cox is going defensive in the racing point, not able to do anything, and Jon Polainen takes 7th position for now, and he's got a pretty good exit, so Jonathan Cox won't be able to fight back this time. But a man who's not really had to do any fighting on track. His teammate passed him earlier. He got back ahead, and since then it's been smooth sailing for Josh, who wins here at Austria. Paulie Orange is going to hold on to take 2nd position. Westy did close up in the end, but not by enough. Artiero will be next man across the line, but we're going to carry on watching that battle for 6th, 7th and 8th position. I think Jon Polainen now is safe and has got it done in the Toro Rosso. I think that's going to be it. So Jon Polainen will finish in 7th. Lawrence did take 4th place in the end on penalties from Artiero. I think Andenge is just going to finish behind that guy. So we'll see Jon Polainen take 6th on the line with penalties. Andenge 7th. Jonathan Cox 8th. Double O in 9th. And it looks like Serious Mushroom will be the last points finisher across the line. Although penalties give that position to McGee, with a Haas dropping down into 12th. But it is Josh, one on track in France. Penalties cost him no such problems today. He is a winner of round 9. Great result from the Renault driver. Paulie Orange hanging on into second position as well. And Westy, 3 races, 3 podiums. He'll be happy with third place. Couldn't really match Josh today. That VSC definitely helping out Josh and Paulie Orange. Who knows what might have been without that. Would have definitely made for a very interesting finish. So the provisional results from FOR round 9 coming on screen now. It is a win from Josh. Great result from him. He takes the plaudits today, and fastest lap as well. Paulie Orange in second place. That was good enough to extend his championship lead. Westy in third, Lawrence fourth, Oz Hero fifth, Jompalainen sixth in his Toro Rosso, and Enge from 18th on the grid. 11th place is gained by him to take 7th. Jonathan Cox himself moving up 4 places. He takes 8th position. Double O finally getting first points, but what could have been from him after damaging his front wing on that first lap, finishing in 9th. McGee sole point for the Red Bull in 10th. Aylan and Serious Mushroom just missing out. And it's Bivusha 13th, YBR 14th, Droftas 15th, Hibilu in 16th, Yossi Heinze Hibilu not finishing, of course. Neither did Yossi Heinze, Nuts Asylum or Skivan after that incident with Yoss. Just going to join some of the drivers now. Hopefully we'll be able to get some reactions from them about how the race went. It was indeed a very intriguing race. Great battles across the field. Lawrence, he was one of the men involved in those battles, finishing 4th. Hopefully we'll be able to get the podium drivers in for a bit of a chat on how they feel like the race went today. Josh with the victory. Paulie Orange second. And Westy finishing in third position in the end. And Lawrence, you got yourself a 4th place. Yeah, even though Paulie Orange didn't get the win, it's been a great race for him, because with Droftas and Bivusha not scoring any points, he's extended his lead to 21 points, I believe. So it's a great race for him. Great race, obviously, from Josh. He's shown some fantastic potential. Once again, we're just waiting for him to join now. And we're also hoping that Westy can join us after taking his 3rd podium in a row since joining FOR. These newbies definitely seem to be showing some serious pace this season. Yeah, there's definitely some incident with Yossi Heinze and then Steven retiring, so what could have been for him? We'll start with yourself, Lawrence. Just shows what you can do when you're not getting involved in unfortunate incidents. Great performance from yourself today, and benefiting a bit from the VSC. Yeah, put your power down, work your way up through the field. Were you aware Altiero had many penalties? Because you were closing him at one point. Yeah, great job from yourself to finish in 4th place. Fingers crossed for yourself that you can carry that on next week into Britain. Yeah, I think Westy said that he's unable to join us, unfortunately. But we do have the winner. Crossed the line first in France. Penalties cost him. Made sure that wasn't going to be a problem today. Josh, great drive from yourself. Yeah, it definitely worked out in the end. Yeah, especially with the VSC as well. You were another driver to benefit from that. Do you think it could have been close with you and Westy towards the end if that hadn't have happened? Did you have any worries? Did either of you have any worries, in fact, about those soft tyres perhaps not getting towards the end of the race? Or were you pretty comfortable with that? Yeah, it was definitely a good race. We've seen Lawrence say that Britain's not really one of his favourite tracks. Are you looking forward to that and hoping you can get the third podium out of 3 races? Yeah, it all went well. My voice is dying slightly, but that's to be expected after such an exciting race. Yeah. Hopefully that was enjoyable for all you guys watching the stream tonight, and hopefully you two enjoyed the race as well. Cheers, guys. We'll be back on Tuesday for the F2 action. F1 will be back next week. Hopefully, George will be able to join us for the British Grand Prix. So it's goodbye from myself. This stream, as always, sponsored by Mixed Energy and Player One Coffee. And we'll see you next time around for some more FOR action.